Hello and welcome to.
Hey, we like your pod. So, Dawn, a fun thing about the way how the setup is for us right now, we're not vanished from the screen when the theme song is running.
Yeah.
Is a thing I've always almost always done when the theme song is playing, which is like ghost trombone along with I'm doing the actual positions and stuff like that. I'm actually thinking the notes as I'm doing it. Now everyone can see me doing it. So anyhow,
I love it. and I have an idea for a new song. I don't know if it has to be our theme song or not, but I'm starting to write lyrics. So I might be challenging you to write some more music.
Interesting.
Yeah. Based on, being a Packers fan, especially this season, and, some quotes and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Fun.
And hello to True North.
Yeah. True says I don't blame Matt for hiding in solitary confinement. Yeah. I was gonna have my flag up. I was, and I don't, so I'll leave myself to blame. But yeah, still in the the stark background here of my basement. It's true.
Well, I still have my banner up. Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love, not George, Jordan Love. I've been a little out of it too this week. I was definitely a win would have cheered me up, but thankfully I have other things in my life that cheer me up, so I'm not only 100% relying on the Packers to do that, because I would have been really upset.
No one should ever let their happiness, be dependent on a sports team, because that's just a recipe for disaster right there. Especially for as unreliable as the Packers were this year. It's like, if we get into it here, Don, halftime, right? What was it, 21-3, and we're all like, yes, this is amazing, it's the tastiest thing I've ever seen. And then they're just like, well, that's what did I expect?
Right.
I think that was the reference that Tex Western made, if I remember correctly. His reference to Arrested Development. Don't you ever watch that?
Yeah. No, but I heard him say that. It was apropos for sure. Well, I want to say this up front. The Packers did not lose to the Bears.
Oh, that's true. That was themselves. That's 100% true.
They handed them the season. They wrapped it up in green and gold paper, and they said, here, please humiliate us. That was fun. God.
Absolutely true.
Right. They had one job to do. And the thing is, okay, sure. I wasn't worried about the Bears. The Packers were the better team.
Yeah.
Now, clearly there's something going on with coaching and direction and whatnot, but they definitely were the better team, and that was great. And too bad that they couldn't, follow through and get this done. But I don't think it's all on execution. Sure, execution is part of it, but I hope that the players aren't all feeling like this is just us, because I spy some organizational problems at the Packers. I really do. It's
Agreed.
just, I've been wondering about it for a long time, and yeah. No, me personally, are you on the fire Matt LaFleur train?
Absolutely not. No, not at all. Good. Yeah, I was going to say, let me talk you off the ledge if you are.
Not at all.
There was a video clip that Mina Kimes had out from her podcast with Dominic Foxworthy.
Oh, yeah. Dominique.
Man, one of the two. Let's go with Dominic. Just with Dominic. That was so good because she summed up looking back, watching the game again after it was over, she was like, the Packers it wasn't really Matt LaFleur's fault per se that this happened. They just were being dominated in the trenches after the half, so they couldn't get their run game going. And so they're trying to pass more than I think we both thought, at least myself, thought they were, because watching the game, I was like, stop running and it's not working. But then they ran it a handful of times in the second half. So trying these passes that weren't working. And it's just, what can you do? This isn't about, Matt LaFleur turtling or something like that necessarily. And in the end of it, it comes down to it, people keep saying he'd be such a desirable candidate if we, let him go. I think it's absolutely true, because he's a brilliant play caller. He
Right.
can get a quarterback looking amazing. You know, he revived Aaron Rodgers' career to 2 MVPs. I'm just parroting Mina right now. It's like not my own thoughts. I have to be really clear about that. But she's totally right. You know, there's no reason to get rid of him. Other changes need to be made, like you're saying, Dawn, like in the organization. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that about the organization? Or what specifically did you mean?
Well, to me, as a person who looks at like business and
Mm-hmm.
organizations, it seems like, just in a very general sense, it's about decision making. So if you look at any organization, if something, and it's clearly a pattern. This isn't the first time, okay? And it was very obvious, and it's not all on the offense either, because really, I think this game and several games were on the defense, on the defensive coaching. And I felt like the coaching did not put the players where they needed to be successful, or at least
Mm-hmm.
have a good chance, or at least
Yeah.
not do that. At least not do that. Um, and like, just, I'll answer more broadly, but I do think there has to be some things put in place, um, where there's accountability throughout the game. And I'm not talking about, like, people are like halftime adjustments. That word is very much overused. In this particular game, the way the Bears played, the way they played all year, this is the third time we played them, Jeff Halfley. I'm looking at you. We knew what they were going to do. I mean, even though we were having a great first half, I was like, okay, now what's going to happen in the second half? What's going to be the answer, which is obviously going to be what they do. And there was absolutely no answer. And it wasn't a second half adjustments, because the Bears may have a different game plan in the second half. That's called game planning. It's not second half adjustments. It's not halftime adjustments. So there was no game planning from what I could see. It didn't look like there was game planning. It looked like it was reactionary. It was on the players, and it turned out pretty similar to the last Bears 2.0, because we've had 3.0, 2.0, and 1.0. So that can't just be let to happen. First of all, that was a game plan. So first of all, how much, I'm sure they had conversation. I mean, they had to be accountability, but there had to be more accountability, obviously, for what are you going to do for what is very obviously Shirtless Ben's plan for the second half.
Uh-huh.
And yes, that's always going to be his name. And um, I do think that Matt LaFleur puts way too much trust. This is our third defensive coordinator with him. We had Pettin, we had what's his name, whose name I'd like to forget, and
Joe
then
Barry. Joe
yes,
Barry is who you're talking about.
Joe
Woof.
Barry. Yeah, and now Halfley. And quite honestly, I hope he does get a head coach job, because then we need because we can hire a new DC. My fear is that he doesn't get a head coach job and he's back, and we just have this.
Wait,
Now,
hold on. Don.
I'm not
Wait.
saying that Jeff Halfley isn't a good coach,
He's
but
amazing.
he wasn't amazing on Sunday, was he? Saturday?
I don't I don't
It
know
sure didn't
enough
seem
about
like it.
the defense, and people have been talking mostly about other aspects of the game, this week. So I can't
Hmm.
say that Halfley was bad, or if it was like bad execution, or what it was. And especially because it seems like, I don't know, I'm gonna take this in a slightly different direction for a second, Don, but I'll bring it back. The thing that a lot of people have been talking about, and we'll get to it in the superlatives too, is that all the assistant coaches down the line are not very experienced, don't
Promoted
have.
from within. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the promotions within, and like
Hmm.
promoting somebody to wide receivers coach who has never really worked with or been a wide receiver before, like really, ridiculous stuff like that, silly stuff.
Exactly.
That's like, what did you expect was going to happen if you don't,
Right.
get people in those positions who know what they're talking about and can teach the fundamentals and get them, doing the right thing. But so, like, is it something along that level, like failed, the
Well, I'm
people
sure
on the
there's
defense, or was it
I'm
Jeff
sure
Halfley making
there's
mistakes? Like,
I'm sure there's merit to that, but I also feel like it's Jeff Halfley, but it's Matt LaFleur because it's Matt LaFleur's job to make sure that Jeff Halfley was set for that game. And if Matt LaFleur is both OC and game in calling the games too, not just planning but calling them, how much is he overseeing what Halfley had in mind and Bisaccia? So Matt LaFleur, I am concerned that he's spread a little too thin and that we need a head coach, and it's probably Matt LaFleur. I think it's the Matt LaFleur can do it. I just feel like he's spread thin. He appears to be spread thin. Just look at him from how he looks from when the game starts until when it ends. I mean, he looks spread. I mean, you can see it written all over him. And then, this thing about Bisaccia being special teams and the assistant head coach, that needs to stop. Just from an outsider looking in, I don't know, but it just seems like right there that there's too many people. Now, Halfley only has one job. So he's not like assistant head coach in this, although he might have been busy interviewing. I don't know how much was he busy, interviewing, but I can't believe he doesn't have the brains and the talent to know that he had to plan differently for the second half than he did apparently in this game. And based on, again, the fact that this is the third time playing the Bears, it's not like we never played this team before.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of familiarity. So I felt like it was inexcusable. The offense really only had to hold ground. It would have been nice if they could have scored, but we had a three play lead was, what'd you say, 21-3, so 18 points.
Yeah, a three score lead, 3-possession lead.
Yes, 3 scores. And so, but that's like almost 3 touchdowns. That's not even at 2 touchdowns in a field goal. You would almost need 3 touchdowns for that, or 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. That's a lot that the defense could have held them to. And so I don't feel like it's all on the offense. I do believe that the Bears' second half plans are very obvious, and I don't believe that Halfley, LaFleur, and everybody there aren't smart enough to do something about it. That's why I'm just saying it seems organizational. It seems like an accountability weird thing. I feel like maybe LaFleur is spread too thin, possibly. Just guessing here. I'm not saying I know, but and then Bisaccia, come on, man. What are you doing here? Wasn't that kicker his choice? Didn't he bring him in from the Raiders? Yeah, so come on, man. There was the game right there, special teams. So there's a lot of blame to go around. It all falls on the head coach, of course.
Ultimately, true.
Yes, it does. But to me, it's more of an accountability thing. I don't know. I think that Halfley's great. He talks a big game. But I just don't know if his record is really all that it's only been 2 years. Is it 1 season or 2 seasons with us? 2 seasons with the Packers. So I'm not that impressed with his record. And here's the thing, if he was interviewing for a job, you would think he would want to have really made a statement with his defense.
I mean, I assume he was trying. I don't think he meant for that to be like what he's putting on, on paper, as it were. No, I mean, I guess we've seen how bad it can be with the last 2 DCs, and I think Halfley's a lot better. There are things to be fixed. There's accountability to be had, but I don't think it rests. I think we're way worse off without him, because especially, don't you feel like if he gets hired for a head coach job, which he probably will, they're just going to, promote somebody internally who's not nearly as good as him? Like, that's what it seems like to me. Well,
there is somebody internal who's really good. I forgot who it is.
DeMarcus Covington, is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah, he might get hired away though too, because people actually think he's good.
Right.
So,
right. He might.
There's that.
Right. Well, we need to make sure that doesn't happen, right? So it's true, but the fact that we've had 3 DCs in a row, that tells me again that this is more of an accountability management, like decision-making tree issue, that something's gone awry there, and it's persistent. So even though Halfley might have performed better, we still have a problem here. We can't allow that to happen. Like an organization like the Packers can't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, in terms of like systemic issues with the organization, you really see that in special teams and how they handle that. And the way I mean, I'm not going to say they're giving it no attention, but it seems like compared to any other team, they must be giving it much, much, much less attention because it's been such a problem for so long. It's like, why aren't you fixing this? You can't just throw a Versace at it because it's not just that. It's, how much time they devote to it in practice and how much attention it gets. And I understand there's like a very limited amount of time they have for practice, and they're going to work more on, offense and defense and not have the time and the effort put into the special teams. I mean, that's at least what it sounds like when, hearing from people who are there or have, covered practices. But what do you expect is going to happen? That's the theme for me today. What did you expect?
Yeah. And there's something going on organizationally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not new, and it's really glaring because this team, it doesn't explain everything, every loss away. I'm not saying that, but it seemed to really be spotlighted this last weekend.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm going to say this again, this was 3.0. We've played this team before. We're familiar with his coaching from the Lions. I mean, it's not like it's even a new coach. Come on,
That's
man.
True. Ben Johnson didn't drop out of the sky this year. Like,
no.
Known quantity.
Very much so. Division, it's just like that I would have been, I mean, a close loss would have been heartbreaking too, but it just was it was just an embarrassment of, and I don't think it was the team. I don't think it was all on execution. That's all I'm saying. It was just more, we haven't been able to because we have talented coaches. So it has to be how the coaches are being held accountable internally and to the team, and to one another. So something's got to change, and I hope it does.
Definitely. So, I'm going to kind of like, go ahead.
I was just going to say, since it's internal, we might not ever know. Right.
That's really true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, I feel like I can't talk about, I can't say things I want to say about this without like getting into what my superlatives are because they're about this stuff.
Okay.
So if you want to hit the cue.
I will. Before we do that, I just wanted to ask who say hi to the chat. Hey, chat. Hi with Joe, Mary Claire. Hey. And Mary Claire said she watched every game. She wants to know our picks for the Super Bowl. So who do you want to see in the Super Bowl? Are you there yet? Are you going to enjoy the playoffs?
I guess the Rams, because of Devontae. I mean, I've always kind of liked the Rams versus the Bills. I'd love to have the Bills win. Rams and Bills. There it is. That was on the spot, Don. I hadn't thought about it at all. And there's my answer.
Oh, that's cool because that's very close to my choice too. I would love to see the Rams and the Bills. It'll probably be the Seahawks and the Bills, but I would love the Rams.
Regardless, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm really hoping that the Seahawks quarterback, whose name is just escaping me right now, just does his usual
Sam Darnold. Yeah.
Darnold. It does his usual Darnold. I think that would be so funny.
Don, side note, how crazy is it that the Vikings thought they should move on from Darnold, even though he was like mostly really, really good for them last year. And then he goes and he's really, really good for the Seahawks. Like, I know he has like those moments when he like just falls apart, but like, what?
No, he's been really good this year. Yeah, he's had his moments, but most quarterbacks do. And by the way, I thought the Vikings head coach was a quarterback whisperer. So why couldn't he whisper that out of him? Why did they let him go? That shows that's strange, but maybe it was a money thing and they had already committed to the weird guy.
They had committed to JJ. That's totally it. They're like,
totally
this is our guy. But they should have had him sit for another year,
Oh, well, hey, don't give them any advice. That's the Packer way. And Darnold is questionable for Saturday? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, no leak. Yeah.
Ooh, pity. Those injuries, man, those injuries. Ugh. Well, yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, I love that we both want the Bills and the Rams. It's time for this week's Superlatives. Well, I can tell, Maddie, that you have a lot of superlatives that you want to share. So get us started.
I mean, I have three, but I'm really excited about them. So I was going to start talking about how I kind of mentioned the relative inexperience between the Packers coaches versus other coaches in the league, and this is something that everybody's been talking about this week because our pal Justice Mosqueda, for a second time in a week, I'm talking about him, or
Yes.
second time in 2 weeks, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Second week in a row, there it is.
Okay.
I wrote this amazing article for Acme Packing Company, looking at the number of years of experience of each of the coaches, outside of the on-field coaches, and the total was so shockingly low to the point where, like, I think it was the next highest one, like next lowest one, I guess, from the bottom was the Steelers, and their total was like 48 years of experience versus the Packers like 20 something, up to the Seahawks, which is like 100 something, whatever. Like, it's just so stark. It's just like, oh my goodness, this is how they're trying to construct their coaching squad. These are people who have to like teach the players how to be good at their positions, and we're cheaping out on that.
Right.
And we wonder why we can't get over the hump and why we can't, do well in the playoffs. Like, come on, the staff isn't equipped to set up the players to be successful at a level they need to be, to be competitive with the other teams. And the whole article was so full of, like really interesting information, really eye-opening, really well written. Of course, Justice is an excellent writer. And it just let me speechless, Don. It's hard to talk about without just being like incensed. And I know this is like supposed to be a podcast where we're positive about things.
Well,
I'm positive about the article.
Yeah,
that's for sure. But a thing that I think Paul Noonan mentioned on the part 2 of this week's Recording is Eligible, he's like, hopefully this article, circulates enough that gets back to the Packers and they see it and they actually consider this point. Because who knows if they're not, I don't, nobody knows what those inner workings are like, why they make these decisions to be so cheap about coaches. But, hopefully this gets back to them. They're like, oh man, good point. I guess we need to rethink this. And like we talked last week about the article that Justice had written last week that people were talking about, which included some information about how the Packers are, relatively poorer. They're not poor. I can't say that. We mentioned they're not poor bad. Like,
no.
Yeah. But like compared to other teams because of just how their finances, where they draw them from. It's not from from a Jerry, who can like throw a bunch of extra money into, the organization outside of like a salary cap situation. Packers don't have that. And I mean, like Titletown District helps for sure. But even then it's a small town. And so they don't have the same revenue to spend on stuff like coaches. But they've got to change how they're allocating their funds. They have to. So anyhow, this was the second week in a row of a really well-researched, eye-opening article. I almost want to say expose, almost, from Justice Mosqueda. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And so that's the one thing, Dawn, right? So I'm going to actually kind of like barrel into my second one. I hope that's okay.
Well, let me just add that just sort of supports my thought about organizational changes. I'm sure the Packers are very well aware of what they're doing. They're not, these are smart guys. I don't doubt that they know that they are making that choice. And by the way, for those people who are like, oh, we should have a billionaire owner, not all billionaire owners will stick their money in, and spend money. So be careful what you wish for there. The kind
Many
of organization
will do stupid stuff too. They'll things that should not be done, like trading away Micah Parsons, for example. Some dumb decisions will happen.
Yeah. So I think coupled with what Justice has been pointing out, again, I just want to say it's some kind of organizational decision-making tree issue and responsibility check that I do think, could improve. It might be an organizational thing. It might be what Matt LaFleur agreed to. But how do I say it? I think it does feel like he's in a little over his head. I'm not saying he's not qualified, but I just think he's spread too thin. So if you're spread too thin, you're not going to your top management, in this case, coaches, and saying, what's that game plan? And actually sitting down with them. And really sitting down with them. And if he has a really good OC who can actually call the plays, he can still be super involved in the game planning. He can still override on the field.
Hmm.
That's not going to take anything away from him, but he might spend more time making sure special teams is together, making sure the defense has a really solid plan. I don't know why Hafley wouldn't have done that. It just seemed really dumb to me. Like, I gotta tell you, it's kind of maddening because he should have known better. It's, like I said, it was okay. I'm not going to keep harping on it, but yes. So I agree with Justice. I read that,
Hmm.
but this also speaks to the organizational. I think the money's there. I think it's just a choice, and I'm hoping Ed Policy has some different ideas about this.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's an interesting thing you're kind of, getting to here, Don, in that, like, does a head coach do? It's probably not exactly the same in every organization in terms of how
Right.
present they are in each of the different like facets
Right.
of the game. I bet that's extremely variable from team to team.
Mm-hmm.
And with Matt LaFleur, he's such a good play call and such a good offensive mind. Like, you wouldn't want to lose that,
Mm-mm.
for some
No.
other head coach who could maybe be better at, like, from the outside perspective, right? But be
Mm-hmm.
better at managing the team and not just the offense. But for all we know, he is doing a good job of being present in all the other different facets, all
He
different
is.
phases. We
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but you're right. What it looks like, the way you're describing
Well,
it, is what it
public
looks like to me.
facing. Right.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to most fans. I think that, like, yeah, he's
Mm-hmm.
focused on the offense and let Jeff Hafley do his thing, because Jeff Hafley can,
Should
because
be
he's
able to.
good.
Right.
Should be able to. It should be trusted too. Despite some perhaps poor decisions on some of these games. But overall, a good track record. It was good defense for the most of the year. But suffice to say, my point is, if we could, bring in the Dolphins coach. He's got one of the Irish names, so I can never keep.
McDaniel.
Thank you,
McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those Irish names. Um,
I love that. I
if we
think
had
that
him
would
as the
be.
OC and he could take
Mm-hmm.
over much more of the play calling, and Matt LaFleur could work with him on the strategy and the scheme, and even a little bit of like
Absolutely.
sequencing during a game, but could be able to give much more attention to the other aspects of the team. I think that'd be amazing. And they're friends,
Right.
which is great. McDaniel said that
I'd
Matt
be
LaFleur
elated.
saved him,
Yeah.
like back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
like, because Mike McDaniel was going down like a dark path, and Matt kind of like
Yes.
pulled him back from it back when they were both like,
Yes.
what, like with the Falcons, is it they're with, like, forever ago?
I can't remember what team, but yes, I do remember the
Falcons or
story.
the
It's
Commanders
a
or
really
someone?
beautiful story.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah.
It
Yeah,
and
they
and
talked about
those
it on
kind
the
of stories are what tell me that Matt LaFleur is really definitely head coach material, because
good
those are
point.
the kinds of yeah, characteristics that I was going to actually look up what a head coach really does. I think it does vary from team to team,
Yeah,
but it's a whole lot, and that's why I and I did look it up a while back. It's a whole lot, and I think a
yeah,
lot of people don't realize how much goes into it, and that's why I'm saying I just feel like two people at least are spread too thin. Bisaccia, who by most accounts was a good special teams coordinator, and Matt LaFleur, who by every account is an excellent OC coordinator. So, or play designer and play
hmm,
caller. So to me, it seems kind of glaringly obviously, and all these other things that Justice and others are bringing up, and who else had some good insight on that is Andrew Mertig too. So we should probably spend
hmm.
a lot of time talking about this on the off season. What else
Yes.
should we do? So what's your next one? Sorry, I took over.
No, no, it's quite all right. It's better it's a discussion, Don. So, barreling into my second one, and thank you for indulging me. So that first superlative for me was like best. What I say here? Best breakdown, right? Best breakdown. Analytical was Justice. Best breakdown. Emotional was
Mm.
our guy Mike Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
He is has a good relationship with our friend Jimmy Christensen, and so
Mm-hmm.
Mike Daniels just kind of out of the blue message Jimmy, was like, "Hey, I gotta get something off my chest. Can we go live for a minute? Like, can I just like talk about some stuff that I need like Packers Nation to hear?" Which
Ah.
is amazing. Like, can you
Yeah.
imagine Mike Daniels like texting you that? That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jimmy's so cool. So anyhow, it was
Love Jimmy.
basically Mike had told Jimmy, like, I just need like 20 minutes. It was over an hour of basically Mike Daniels like just ranting about his
Wow.
frustrations about what he sees in the Packers. And I think, you know, I think he had a lot of good points. So I'm going to highlight those. I'm going to highlight the things I thought were really good. He talked a lot about the sort of mindset, you know, like a killer, you know, a hatred for your opponents that he thinks is lacking in the Packers. But you see it in the way how, you know, Ben Johnson,
Shirtless Ben.
you know, with his like F the Packers stuff, his like anger and his bile. Yeah, it makes him look like a small, like weird little brother. But like at the same time, his team is picking up that attitude. And you look at, you know, Dan Campbell with his like, we're gonna bite the kneecaps, and his, you know, whole like aggressive URA stuff. Like it didn't work from this year, obviously, but you know, they've been successful for the last couple of seasons. I think due in part to like that sort of, I hate this phrase, but like culture setting, you know, the tone that those head coaches, and this goes back to like, what does a head coach do? Establish a tone, I think, is an important part of it. And like maybe behind you know, closed doors and practice and whatever else, maybe Matt LaFleur is more like fiery, but he just comes across as so like, you know,
Genteel.
chill and cerebral,
right?
And not like somebody's like riling them up for battle. It's like in the Lord of the Rings, there's a couple spots where like I think even especially in the last one where Aragorn has to like pump up the soldiers from just before battle, and like the speech goes on and you're like, yes, this is awesome, I want to go to war for Aragorn, I want to get out there, and you know, like it gets you pumped up. Like I don't imagine Matt LaFleur ever doing that, you know. And so how do we,
well, I don't know, I'm going to push back on that because you see him in the locker room after games, after wins, and you can tell tell the rapport he has with the team, and he gets pretty, he's out there. I just don't think I just don't think we see it. I don't think they're filming it like the Bears did. And you know, sometimes I think the Bears intentionally, that was like a total planned moment.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, that was
corny as
totally
hell.
Yeah. So but I think Matt LaFleur has that in him. I think but I do agree he sometimes comes across as a little bit soft spoken and genteel. But not all but there are many coaches that are really good coaches that do that. Like you don't see Kyle Shanahan doing that or having those viral moments where he's screaming his head off. Right.
He has a similar temperament, I think, to Matt LaFleur. He seems
right. But you don't question that team's fired up and ready to go.
I don't know enough about them to say. I will say that. Like our division rivals, I feel like we have more of a finger on the pulse of that. We have more of a sense of it. I do
because I'm in California. Yeah. So no, it definitely that is a very together team ready to play. And I get this pretty similar sense about the Packers. But I could see why some people would think that. I have definitely had that thought go through my mind. I won't deny it, but I've also thought about other coaches who are not like super forward and out there, right? So, and I also think that the younger coaches, well, you know, shirtless Ben is shirtless Ben. I mean, you know, he's doing what he has to do. It's Chicago. What are you going to do? So, but I think it's going to be less of that super out there machoism. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but and just a little bit more younger version of more moderate machoism. You know, I just think it's a culture change in the world that we're seeing. I don't think
but I guess
always going to be outliers.
I guess where I see it, and I think what Mike Daniels is getting to is like in the end of the game, in the end of Bears games, right? They've been like lucky, it seems like, in a lot of games, but eventually you can't dismiss that as luck because it's too much. So what is it that they're doing? Because it's not necessarily like a supreme execution. They're not like a great executing team. I mean, Caleb Williams' stat line from this last game was terrible. You know, it was like very, very bad stats. But it's like that doesn't matter because there's something that the team is doing at the end of games that can't possibly be just luck. Maybe there's some luck, but
Well, there's a change in the game plan for the second half, and they
it probably
changed the
doesn't hurt.
tempo.
Yeah.
They changed the tempo, and then when it starts being successful, they're feeding off of that.
Well, that's the thing.
I
I think, yeah, they are. I think as a team, good at developing that the anger in the fight. You know, at the end of the game, when other teams are wearing down, and somehow they seem to like grow
they're
their
wearing other
intensity
teams
at the end.
down. Yes.
Yeah, well, the other team is like kind of like diminishing
Yes,
and like getting
exactly.
exhausted. And however you get a team to do that, however you build that into the DNA of the team, is that a shirtless bend, Dan Campbell kneecap kind of a approach? Is that what it is? Is something else? I mean, that's what we need. You know,
I think it's game planning. I think it's what they do. They change the tempo. They wear down defenses. They wear the other team down. They feel you can feel them deflate. They rise up. It's very simple. I'm not saying it's simple to do that game plan and execute it, but you know what I'm saying? It's simple to see how that works. I don't really think it's because they just all are so fired up that they go out and win the game. I think it's very much scripted. And I think that sometimes this happens in a league, and it takes a couple of seasons for the other coaches to figure out a way to answer. Like, it took a while to figure out how to answer Dan Campbell. It might not have been Dan Campbell. It might have been Ben. I don't know. But in any case, the Lions aren't winning anymore.
Right. I
was just hoping that the Packers with Halfley could have figured it out this season. But this does happen. And I just feel, I mean, yes, I acknowledge what he's saying, but I think it's more than that. I think it's really all about any team. If they're going to have a good game plan and they start gaining momentum, you feel that shift. You feel they get empowered. It's just natural. So I don't think it's a quick, easy answer, but it all feeds into everything. And I have definitely myself, I like that because I have many times thought, boy, Matt LaFleur is so quiet and soft. And, you know, is he really a head coach? So I can see why people would wonder about that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think what you said there, like there's no easy like way to describe it, right? I think is an important thing to remember because in this week after the season is over, and Dawn, doesn't it feel like weeks since the season was over? Isn't it like when I realized it was only Saturday when that last game was, I was like, how was that? Hasn't been a whole week. I feel like it's been forever since then. But anyhow,
I know
everyone, myself included, ourselves included, wants to try to figure out what the problem was and you know, why did it go so badly? We know we were on top of the world for different parts of the season. And the thing is it's not as simple as, oh, we don't have a winning culture, or, oh, our assistant coaches aren't good enough. It's a lot of things. And it's like, you know, if we didn't have the injuries we did to like key players, and people like, oh, you know, everyone has injuries, but we had catastrophic injuries to our top players. We didn't have those, or even just have as many of those. Would we still be in the playoffs? I think we would. I think if we had one of Tucker Kraft, even Devontae Wyatt, or of course Micah Parsons in that game, I think we would have won, you know? So there are so many factors that go into this. And that's one thing I find annoying about this part as I'm engaging in myself. This part of the cycle is everyone thinks they know what it is and is trying to be really reductive about it when it's actually super complex.
It's not one simple answer.
It's not, you know, but on the other hand, the positive side of everyone struggling for this is we're getting lots of ideas out there because I've heard a lot of other theories. And so it gives you, when you see what might be some of the reasons as they start to like accumulate in the conversation broadly, you know, in podcasts and videos and articles, for me, at least, it gives me hope that the team, you know, will be identifying similar things and thinking about how to actually fix them and make them better and mitigate the issues for next season. It comes back, you know, a smarter, better team. Because the problems with the team this year, I think Andy Herman was saying today, the game itself was a perfect microcosm. It was with Paul Farrington, a perfect microcosm of the Packers season, and that it started off really good and started to dwindle at the end. And even there was like this like spike of like optimism with Matthew Golden's touchdown, which we haven't talked about yet.
Was
How great was that, Dawn?
It was wonderful. Yay, Matthew
first
Golden
touchdown,
finally. Yes.
Had a playoff game and he earned it. He caught the ball. I don't know what it's like the 12-yard line or whatever it was. I'm probably wrong about that.
So
And
good.
just fought the whole way. Like got
Yeah,
past like
hopping
6
over people.
defenders. Like
It was good.
I've
I
been
love that
watching.
for him. It wasn't just like a catch it in the end zone thing. He
Yeah,
had to go get it. Yeah.
he had to earn it.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, on the defense, in Micah Parsons,
Hmm.
I did feel on several games, a few games there where Micah really had to do way more than
Yes,
like he was holding
yes,
up that whole defense. So again, that should have shown a lot of people there are some weaknesses in our defense. We know Rashawn Gary didn't show up for one thing.
what a
So,
disappointment.
right. So again, it's a combination of things, but one player shouldn't be holding up the whole squad on his
Yeah,
back like that.
yeah, I
That's
agree.
probably why he got hurt. He overused, and I don't know. But so anyway, just another thing that gave us a signal that's it was a little scary with the defense. It wasn't perfect this year. It could have been better. It should have
Yeah,
been better.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure, better. I agree. So
So
anyhow, before I relinquish the floor for your superlatives, um, just to quickly kind of sum those two up,
yes.
there are, like I said, many theories people put out there for what
Hmm.
happened to the Packers this year and why it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But in the end, I felt like Justice's writing about the coaches and their experience, and Mike Daniels' fire about the demeanor of the team were the most compelling ones. Were they the most
Mm.
accurate? Were they the most like the best ones to fix the team? Like I don't know. I think Justice's is one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Time will tell, or won't, and we'll never know.
We
But
probably won't know.
we won't know.
We
But
probably
in the
won't
end, like
know.
those are for me the two most compelling and
Yeah.
fascinating arguments this week that I heard
Yeah.
of many.
Yeah. It's where you gravitate. Yeah. And I tend to gravitate to Justice's writing as well and his
Yeah,
thinking. I read that and I did not catch Mike Daniels. I will.
you should watch
Um,
it. It's
I
a good
will
listen.
with
Watch,
Jimmy for
listen slash
sure.
watch.
For sure. So I have a couple of quotes. I just thought it'd
Mhm.
be fun. Best quotes. These are from players. So from
Oh,
our Javon Bullard. I don't know if
I
you've
know this
heard
one.
him. Yep.
Go for it.
No disrespect to them. He's talking about the Bears.
Mhm.
And I like this because it just summed up what I was thinking. So I'm like, yay, somebody said it out loud. No disrespect to them, but it ain't S that they did.
You can say
I
poop. It ain't poop that they did.
it didn't poo that they did. It's us. We gotta finish. We whooping they but
But
the whole time, the whole game. But that's us. We gotta finish. They didn't
mhm,
do S special. In other words, they didn't do anything special.
yeah,
I think they actually did, but it was very predictable. So I felt bad because he's putting it all on the player's execution here. So we gotta finish. He said it again. We ain't finished the last time. We ain't finished this time. So that's some S we gotta work on within us. So Javon, thank you for that. And that was his post game, interview. But he
mhm,
basically said he wasn't impressed with what the Bears did, and I agree. We were the better
yeah,
team.
yeah,
It was very clear. It showed us that this definitely was a coaching slash game planning failure. I think for the second half. He said it was more about Packers not finishing the game, and that's something within us, which kind of speaks to what you were saying about Mike Daniels' thoughts. Like somebody's got to bring this out. There might be some of that, especially because they're admitting to it, the players. So
mhm.
I was happy he said it. It's how I felt, but I feel like it's not all on the players' execution by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm
Because
sure
it's
they're
not all
feeling
on any one thing. Because it's
right.
complex. Yeah,
Exactly.
but there could have been better execution.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was part
And
of the
then
equation.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Micah Parsons, my second best quote. I've had my fair share of coaches and people around this league that I've been around, and Matt is one of the best guys. He's talking about head coach Matt LaFleur.
Hmm.
And as people, as a person, and that I think that is more important personally than hoorah-rahing
Yeah,
because you get that with Dan Campbell, and then he just makes these really stupid, macho decisions out there, like going for fourth
going for it
down
always.
four
Yeah.
times and never making it. So, because people have figured that out.
Hmm.
glad he did it because we see more people going for teams going for fourth downs now, which I think is great. But so he said he's one of the best persons. He's been around since he's been in the league. And what really, you probably have heard, but I reached out to him when I started seeing this stuff about a coaching change. So, and I said, man, when I agreed to come here, you were part of the reason why I came here. That's why I disagree with Mike Daniels' take
Mm.
to a certain degree. I want you to be part of this. I love you, and I think you're a great coach. And I appreciate, and he appreciated those words. And I think even Rogers said something
Yeah.
I heard that. So
Mhm.
in Matt LaFleur's defense, that is no small thing.
Right. Yeah, I know,
That is
right?
no small thing. I mean, that all the players are really supporting their coach. So I don't, I think things, yeah, I just don't think the you rah, who rah rah type of thing. And I do think Matt's probably pretty vocal off camera.
Mhm.
But yeah, he values the leadership and the culture. So you're talking about culture.
Yeah, true.
He's saying right there, this is a good culture. I love it here. He reached out, with the rumors, and I'm really glad he did because I feel kind of bad when all of these coaches, people are talking about their careers, on like, come on, tone it down. And first of all, I don't want to hear about it, but till after the season. But it's just kind of gotten really tacky. I don't really love it. So I think it's a little distasteful. But yeah, and he said he doesn't want the team to look back and feel like they let a great coach go.
Yeah.
I think that could be a real mistake. So careful
Yeah.
what you wish for,
Yeah.
people. I hope they can figure it out. I do believe it's organizational. It does fall on his shoulders, but like you, I don't agree with this fire Matt LaFleur. That's just too knee jerk as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else do you have, Maddie?
Yeah, one more. My last superlative is best question. So
Mm.
this was amazing. All right. So, of course, we've talked about the Peckaday Wednesday crew time and time and time again on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, many folks who submit questions from every week. And there have been a lot of good ones over the years, but this one takes the cake. In fact, I'm just going to say for any of the many podcasts that do like mailbag episodes, all the questions we've heard people ask, this I think is my favorite one ever. Okay.
Ooh.
So I'm just gonna read it because it was this good, and
Okay.
it's a long one, right? So this was the Opinionated Lab, who we should have on here sometime. A really great follow on Blue Sky. I can't remember if Opinionated Lab is also on Twitter, but suffice to say, a great follow. Seems like a good person. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read it. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
question they submitted for this Wednesday pack a day. It goes: LaFleur or not LaFleur? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler for the fans to suffer the slings and arrows of pre-snap penalties, or to take arms against repeated special teams blunders, and by opposing end them, to kick, to miss, no more, the heartache and the 1,000 second down run plays. But love is heir to a franchise QB, and as such to be used to pass, to throw, to cook, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that cooking, what plays get called, by whom and why, now we have shuffled off to the off season, must give us pause. There's the question I broach. What blame falls on players and how much on the coach? I mean,
Beautiful.
Shakespearean, literally. When I
Right.
was giving a compliment on that, like, well, Shakespeare did most of the work. I'm like, no, yeah, but like this, this is brilliant. So,
Right.
huge kudos to the Opinionated Lab
Love
for
that.
real effort on that one. Absolutely, absolutely great.
And how did they answer? Players coach.
Good question. I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember because I feel like that's a big part of the conversation all week, and it's people
Right. It's all mushed together.
so much
Okay,
together.
well let's be brave. Let's
Mhm.
do this. Let's say out of 100%, how many
Ooh,
percent player, how many percent's on the blame? We're talking blame here, or needs
yeah,
to change. Let's not say blame. I don't like that. Needs change. I'll go first.
yeah. Go ahead.
I will say 25% players, 75% coach. And what I mean by coaching, I mean all the coaching, the organizational
Mhm.
structure of the coach, or the accountability. But obviously, most important, play calling has to be nailed down better especially for a known opponent.
Yeah. Because a lot of the players are truly battling out there, and some of the players aren't doing what they should be doing. I
Yep.
mean, Rashawn Gary, great example,
Mm-hmm.
not showing the kind of effort they should be showing for the money they're being paid to do.
Right.
So to like quantify that as like players versus coaches is hard for me, because it's like almost mentally I'm like, would I have to break it down by like based on what percentage of the players are doing well and how that constitutes like the what
The
chunk of the
total.
100% we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
um
I mean, it's
I think
just
I
very
lean more
broad
towards
strokes.
what's that?
Broad strokes. Broad
Broad strokes, yeah.
strokes.
I
Yeah.
realize that's the spirit of the question. It doesn't make a spreadsheet, Matt. That's not what we're doing here. I think I would put it more on the coaches, but the
Mm-hmm.
broad coaching structure, like you said, and all
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that
Mm-hmm.
Justice has been writing about, I think I put it more there, but maybe not as much as you are. So I guess if I had to put into a number, I'd maybe go 60-40, I think.
No,
Because like
that's still a majority.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean,
For
because the
sure.
players who are stinking it up are stinking it up,
Mm-hmm.
and sure, almost nobody's gonna be consistent from week to week. So like there's,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be, that's what's on them. Like, even though they can't be fully consistent, that's still, what
Mm-hmm.
they're not executing when they're not. But the coaches, it's gotta be better.
Well,
Top to
within the
bottom.
players, it's like, how much is it effort? Because really, when
Mhm.
I say players, it's are they trying? Are they
Yeah,
actually and how much of it is a coaching problem, right?
right. How
So
much are they
that's
being
why I
taught to
gave
do
it
their thing
right.
well, their stuff well? Yeah.
That's why I gave more to coaching, because I think I don't think most of the players are just like not putting out effort. And on the Rashawn Gary thing, because of the injuries and whatnot this year, I don't think Matt had the ability to like bench him or
Yeah.
do some of the things that a coach would need to do in a situation like that, or because we were so thin on, because
Yeah.
of the massive injuries we kept taking. So there might not have been some options there what would normally would be there if you had a full team, right? So we had to use them.
That's a really good point. I mean, because like
Yeah.
we did see his share of the snaps diminish in the
Hmm.
last part of the season. It was like
Right.
always a smaller share,
Hmm.
because you're right, they can't just bench him.
They couldn't. They couldn't.
The It's
And
not a
Matt would
deep
have,
enough.
yeah. Now, can they get out of his contract this year? I guess they could trade him.
I don't think anyone wants him. I don't think they can
Yeah.
trade him to anybody.
After this year.
I think it's
Yeah.
just going to be cut him and eat the dead cap. I think is what it's going to be. I don't think he's going to
Yeah.
be back next year at the Packers. I'd be
Yeah.
shocked.
It's crazy how
He was good.
something must be going
He used
on
to be
behind the
good.
scenes. I just always think, I mean, he's not just being lazy. I mean, come on, something's going on. But who
Yeah,
knows?
there's probably some injury stuff that he hasn't talked about. Didn't that happen last season where like at the end, or was it Kenny Clark at the end of the season was like, yeah, I've been battling through like a broken ankle like for most
Oh
of the season.
man.
So like that's true. That kind of stuff does happen.
Yeah.
But
And we missed Kenny for sure this year. Too bad Jerry
yeah.
didn't want Rashawn. If we probably thought Rashawn was more valuable because it he should have
Seemed like
been
it.
more valuable.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Seemed like it should have been. But if it had been Lucas Van Ness eating all of the Rashad Gary snaps early on,
Mm-hmm.
whew, whew, we're great. Yeah. Hey, got me really thinking about this again, Don. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a thing that I live by is that if students are getting bad grades in class, it's not the teacher for being a bad teacher, and giving bad assessments of what's, been taught to them.
Their needs.
So
Yes.
if the players are doing bad on the field, like, okay, well, they're professional athletes, so they better be good at it in the first place. But the coaching makes a difference. The position coaches make a difference. We
The
saw
game
when
plan
Stanovich was
makes a
in charge of the O
difference.
line. What's that?
Mm-hmm. The game plan too.
Yeah, yes.
Can
When
set
Stanovich
them
was
up
in
for
charge of the O
failure.
line, they were so
Mm-hmm.
good. Then he got promoted, and they really were not remotely as good this season. So
Right.
if you have somebody good at that thing, teaching them well, getting them ready for games, that's critical, and that's going to affect their ability to be successful. So
Mm-hmm.
I think about this a lot, Don, because that's my job to think about this. Because if there's
Yeah.
intro to biology, if there's a bunch of bad grades in the class, then I'm sorry, we need to look at the way how we're teaching the class. This
Yeah.
isn't like an inherently a class that should have a lot of failures. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
silly. That's bad pedagogy. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess you're talking me more towards like a 65-35. Okay.
Okay. So you've changed your
A little
position
bit.
a little bit.
Just
Just
a
a
little
little bit.
bit.
Well, good night to Mary Claire, and Iowa Joe. Yeah, no corners this year. I felt
Yeah.
like we should have drafted more for the O line, and I was right. I'm always
So
right. No, I'm
for
just
the
kidding.
listeners, Don, it's worth reading a couple of these out loud.
Yes, I
And also
was.
chat. Thanks for bearing with us. We were totally ignoring you guys tonight, but so I'm going to put it back up here if you don't mind. Joe said
Yeah,
if
go
the
ahead.
Packers had a competent CB room, they would have had a better chance. Yeah,
Hmm.
that was a major problem with the team this year.
It
And
was.
what was the next one you put up, Don? Go ahead.
So I was going to go to True North. He said, I'd rather the players hate the coach because they hold the players accountable.
Mm, I don't
I
hate
don't
the
know
coach
if
at
you
all
would hate, you would
because
want
he
them
can
to
lose the
hate.
locker room.
Yeah, no. There's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. I think most professional athletes wouldn't hate a coach for holding them accountable unless they
Right.
did it the wrong way.
Yeah.
I think you have to have finesse as as a
Oh
coach
yeah.
for
As a
sure.
coach, as a teacher, as a
Yeah.
professor, as a whatever. Yeah.
I think it's very natural to be like, oh, because again, I've had the same thought. Matt LaFleur, he's just so toned down and he's just so quiet. That's the problem. But I really don't think that's the problem. I think he makes people want to work for him. I really do. So
I think
I
you're
don't
right.
know.
And your point before about like the players saying really nice things about him, and even Aaron Rodgers, who is a tough customer, saying nice things about him unprompted, like yeah,
Hmm.
that shows a lot for sure.
Yeah, I think it's unjustified. I really do. Because again, you be careful what you wish for because you can get
Yeah.
some kind of like bonehead that all they do is scream, you know, and
Yeah.
get everybody and even the example, I'm sorry, this is a little different, but Halfley can really do a great press conference and get you behind him.
Mhm.
He can sell himself that way. Whether he's doing that on purpose or not, he's very charismatic. He can talk a good talk.
He really can.
We yes, and I'm not sure his talk and his actions have really, matched. And so you got to be careful for the big talkers too, because a lot of times they might lack substance. I don't think Matt LaFleur in any way lacks substance.
And he's definitely not an inspiring talker in press conferences. If anything, I think Matt
No,
LaFleur comes across as being veering between like mild mannered and a little like annoyed to have to be
yeah,
there.
I know it's
He'll get
funny.
a little catty sometimes, you know. But Don, I never knew you're such a Halfley denier. This is fascinating tonight. This is really coming out. I
I've
had no
had
idea.
him on. I've been had him on watch for a while because there's been a few games where the defense is like, "Hello, where are you?" Like
Hmm.
he didn't have anything really together for the Cowboys game. Remember that was our tie,
That was a rough one.
and yeah, I mean there were in the last Bears game, and it was like, okay, I think something's going on with him where he's just not reaching deep enough into his answer box.
I don't know. His answer box.
Iowa Joe, if they cut trade Gary, it's 18 million in dead cap and
11
11
million
million saved.
saved.
All
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
Yep. And then he says if it's past post June, which would be, I would think, 8.5 million dead and 19 million saved. Yeah, that's doable. That's
Right.
worth it.
That's worth
Mm-hmm.
it. Yeah. Thanks for the figures, Joe. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Joe. Well, Maddie, so that was our little reality check. It's interesting. I think we're going to evolve over during the postseason, the preseason, the next game, next season,
We better.
because we're going to be getting more information. There's going to be coaching changes. I'd like to see some organizational changes. I think some of them are going to be forward facing, public facing. They'll be
Mhm,
announced, in other
mhm.
words, but I think a lot of it won't be.
Oh,
So,
agreed. Yeah.
hmm
You
now
don't see
there's,
like a Schefter like, oh, Packers have hired a new DB room
mm,
coach. Like, and Packers.com isn't really making that like a big announcement either. So yeah, no, I totally agree.
I think policy has a press conference coming up too, doesn't he?
I think you're right.
And then there'll be the owners meeting. That's
Mhm.
not till summer, so you
Right.
just wonder how many tidbits he'll put out. It'd be kind of cool to have a president who's a little bit more out there with things, like with information. That would be kind of neat. I felt like
Mark Murphy.
Mark Murphy just kind of
he was too out there.
Yeah, but he also internally, I felt like he just kept doing the same thing, and I'm hoping that policy is going to implement some new policies.
As it were. Ed policy, something I've studied for my entire career. What a crazy name.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
Educational policy. That's what I'm all about.
Well, thank you, chat, for being here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Over the cap.
Iowa Joe's calling out over the cap. Yes, very good.
That's a good
Very
site.
good
Yeah.
resource. Yep. Okay, Maddie, any final thoughts before we bring her home?
Just that, this wasn't like exactly our typical, militant positivity type episode. We're all trying to make sense of, where did the season go wrong? And, I was thinking about this, Dawn, a little tangent for a second here. I want to ask you, when did you kind of like let go of the possibility of a Super Bowl? Like, do you remember when that was in the season? Because for me, it wasn't when Micah Parsons went down. Because I was like, well, the defense should still be good without him. And I was holding hope because, I'm an optimist and sometimes people might say it's foolish. But the part where for me, I was like, oh no, this is just not going to happen. It was actually the Ravens game because we had no run defense. And I was like, if we can't even do that, and yeah, Derrick Henry, I know, generational player, blah, blah, blah. So there's that, right? That's part of what happened in that game. But still, to be that porous and that, mealy mouthed, right?
Right.
That for me was like, okay.
Yeah, and matter. That again was the defense.
It's like this is well true. This is just not going to happen. So for me, that was like where I said, okay, I'm going to let go and just be okay with whatever happens. And so the game on Saturday was rough, especially because maybe even only because we were up so much at halftime, and so the letdown from that high was hard.
Yeah.
But in the end, I didn't think we were going to beat the next team, which would have been Seattle. Like I thought we had no chance, especially because we had to travel to them.
Right.
So I think because I was kind of letting go, starting with the Ravens game, it wasn't as hard to stomach the collapse of that game for us. So my question is to you, before we wrap, do you remember the point of the season where you're kind of like, okay, you know what, it's going to be what it is?
I think it was even before but I never gave up hope. I kept saying, and I would say this in my posts on social media, I would say, it's a weird season, and it really has been a weird season, not just for the Packers, but for many teams. There are very few that have been front runners. I think the Seahawks and the Broncos are probably the most winning, and I just feel like the Broncos. I still don't feel like the Broncos are all that. I just haven't gotten that sense.
Yeah, they're gettable.
I think the Seahawks are formidable for sure. So I knew that going up against those teams was going to be super challenging, but I also know that this is a very unpredictable league. So I never gave up hope of the possibility, but I also definitely braced myself for, we're probably not going to be able to, even if we got to the Super Bowl, we're probably going to have like 2 players left. We're not going to win it. I mean, it was a strong possibility that we wouldn't make it or win it. And that's been for a while. But I wouldn't say it was like some people, when Micah Parsons went down or anything. I wanted to see what they had in store. And I think that's why I'm just extremely disappointed in the coaching because I don't know. I just felt like this was, did they give up? I don't know. I just felt like maybe, I don't think the players did. I really don't.
I don't think most of them did. There might be some that did, but that's true. Cause it's like, if you encounter adversity, it's up to the coaches to like figure out how to steer the ship and, compensate and move on. And if we don't have coaches that can do that, that's pretty much in the coaching. I was going to ask you about that earlier, so I just want to sneak that in before. But suffice to say, though this wasn't like our most positive vibes kind of episode, I think that's excusable for the first and at the end of the season. And I was trying to make sense of what happened and talking through it. For me, very helpful. So I appreciate you, Dawn. Of course, appreciate you every week.
Likewise,
have this chance to talk through it is for me really helpful, and hopefully, for everybody to have their chance to talk through it and maybe even listen to us talk through it. Hopefully, it's helpful for them as well.
Yeah, I hope so too, Matt. Thank you for that. And yeah, it's definitely likewise. And to me, the more we talked, it's like, yeah, there's not just one reason. And anyone
No,
who thinks that they can just be like, well, this is the solution, and this is, and I don't think a lot of the smarter people are doing that.
no,
It's
definitely not.
definitely more complex, and it's. I think it is justifiable to be mad and say things when you're mad, like, oh, fire the coach or whatever.
Yeah,
But I don't think that's the answer. I never thought that was the answer. So it'll be interesting how it all plays out. But I am getting really tired of these kind of results for
yeah,
the Packers. Yeah,
big
yeah.
time. Yeah,
And this particular one was just like such an embarrassment. It just was super dumb. So, and had we gone on, yeah, it would have been the Seahawks next. Again, you don't know. Oblique injury on their quarterback. They have a
yeah,
strong
that's
defense. You
true.
know, you just don't know. Jordan Love was pulling off. I think Jordan had a great season. So there were a lot of great things that came that revealed themselves this season about from the Green Bay Packers. So I'm hopeful for next year. We're going to still have a good team. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
With everybody healthy again, with Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft and Jordan Love is awesome and everything else, and hopefully they fix the O line a bit. Like, yeah,
hmm
it's gonna be awesome
Yeah,
next
that
year.
O line man to protect our guy.
Oof.
And True North is going to have the last word. When are we getting the roller coaster safety instruction? Well, it's not safety, it's how to survive when you've
How to
been
survive?
thrown off.
Yeah,
When you've
and the
been
answer to
thrown
that is talking through it with your
talk it
friends.
through. Yep. Talk
There
it
it
through
is.
your friends. Don't jump to big heavy duty conclusions. Simple conclusions are not always the best. Think it through, give it some time. Let's see what policy has to say.
Yeah.
And F the Bears, man.
There it is.
Oh God.
That's the clip right there.
All right, Maddie, let's bring her home. And
All
thanks
right.
again to the chat for joining us
Yeah,
here.
every
hmm
time.
Yeah.
So, friends, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. We're going to be having some more guests soon. So, if there's somebody you want to hear,
Yes.
like, let us know. Seriously, for real.
Yes.
Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And, folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. The best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right, because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes disappointing.
Yes, also.
We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod, and we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod.